I'm here with foreign IRS revenue agent who's really going to tell you exactly how things look from the other side of the fence and how to stay off their radar. Let's just jump in, Mike. What happens when somebody consistently underreports or who has, like what you might see, a pattern of amending returns? How does the IRS interpret that kind of behavior?
It's called fraud, gross F word. And
You have to say,
I had to say the F word. It's not the F word everyone else wants to say, but the fraud word. I'll tell you the biggest thing. If you ask me for the biggest thing, I shied away from it. It's the cost of living. I can look at a tax return. If I go out to your house, I can tell you whether you're unreporting your income or not. So if I go out to your house, I look at your house, I say, gee, this house is worth X amount of dollars, but yet your tax return does not substantiate that. I'm going to think, something's wrong with this tax return. So what IRS does, they do a reverse audit. They do what's called a cost of living analysis, which simply means they add up what that average person would spend on a monthly basis for expenses. And then they would multiply that by 12. So that would have to be what that person shows on the tax return. So that just should make perfect sense. So if I'm looking at your house, it looks like you're living in a $3,000 a month house or rental. IRS uses that maybe 1/3 is going to be the expense on that. Then 70% more is for other things. So IRS backs into your income that way.
all right, so I've seen some cases where people will lose their right to an appeal by playing the clock in the wrong way. Can you give an idea of when the best time to act when working with the IRS is?
When the best time to what? I'm sorry, I didn't get that word.
Act. Like if the IRS is on your case or you start getting letters from the IRS, when's the best time to take matters into your own hands or to contact a professional and get professional advice on what to do next?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I always answer it the same way. If you have a little angst or burning in your heart and you know this ain't going to go well, that's the time to give it up and call a professional. When you open that letter and see what they're asking, if you know you can handle it, go for it yourself. Nothing wrong because you're confident. As soon as you get that little sick feeling, don't bother. All you can do is get yourself deeper. Here's the thing that people don't realize is that IRS is not going to look at 1 year. They're going to go back 3 years. All they do when they send you an audit letter, just so you know, they just get their foot in the door. Once they start fighting and digging and pulling apart, they're going to say, hey, we're going to go back 3 years plus. They can go back another 4 years if there's 25% omission of income. Then if they feel there's more fraudulent, they can refer the case to criminal investigation. So there's a wide scope of really what IRS could do.
So what are the top things that a taxpayer can do right now to avoid raising those red flags and getting into trouble with the IRS down the line?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I am asked that a lot. I'm not trying to say, hey, you got to see Josh, you got to see a person. If you want to stay out of trouble, you've got to talk to someone who can keep you out of trouble. And it's really an obvious answer, but people say, well, I'm going to try this myself. Well, if you think you're doing something even a little nefarious or on the dark side, IRS's new algorithms that are going to be used by AI, they are going to be dead on. And listen, if you want to stay out of trouble, you got to hire a professional because they know the boundaries in which you're safe with IRS. I think of a practitioner, Josh, as putting a nice warm coat on you that you're not going to have a problem with because you kind of have this little armor on you. Okay, does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I got to thank you again, Mike, for sharing your time with us and expounding on some of these questions that I think a lot of taxpayers have on their hearts about how to stay out of trouble with the IRS. If you've learned something new today, why don't you hit that like and subscribe buttons? And if you've got any tax questions, we've got a link on our website to schedule a free consultation for us to take a look at your situation and see if we can add some value to that. No problem. No harm.
Josh, can I add one more thing before you cut? Here is very simple. I'm just telling you, for everyone listening, Josh could probably look at your tax return most of the time and tell you if it needs changing or buffing up a little. Correct, Josh?
You know, I've been doing this for the last 22 years. Tax returns aren't my specialty. The reason why I reached out to you today, Mike, is because most people aren't aware of what it's like to talk to somebody who used to work for the IRS and the value that you bring to a conversation like this about how the IRS perceives certain activities or behaviors, and just to give people more of a heads up on how the IRS might perceive it. But yeah, I've been doing taxes for the last 22 years. I did about an audit a week for about 8 years for people who did TurboTax returns, 36 to 40 a year. You get an idea of that. I've got a few collections cases underneath my belt working with you over the last 5.5 years, and then U.S. tax court cases are a place where I shine. I never lost at a case where the IRS won. My clients always prevail in a positive way. And so I'm very selective about the cases that come through. But yeah, it's a great profession to be in as long as I'm enjoying helping people. And, you know, with the IRS, it's easy to make people happy because the IRS isn't their friend all the time. Mike, thanks again for your time. Do you have any closing calls?
No, I can't if you're a W-2 wage earner, there's nothing wrong with going ahead and using software and stuff. If you're making over 100,000, you'd be crazy to do this on your own. And if you're self-employed, you're crazier to go ahead and prepare your own tax return. It's not only could you get in trouble, there's just some hidden deductions a true professional can bring to light that's actually going to save you money.
Thanks very much again, Mike. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons and share this with somebody who could really benefit from hearing this stuff. And if you're facing some serious tax problems, again, we look forward to talking to you soon. I hope this has been helpful.